are in line, the weaver, we would know.
Hey, we are live. Hi, everyone. How are you? That one jumped out. I was in the middle of doing something. I know we had a little bit of a rough start there. I think we started, then we stopped, but we're here now, and we're excited to be here. If you're just joining, and we'll give everyone a few minutes. Looks like someone's texting me, telling me that on YouTube there still seems to be a little bit of an issue. I think it's like you can hear me say, "Oh wait, we shouldn't be going live." And that's the real world, right, John?
It's like when a great band starts their song and says, "Wait a minute, it's in the wrong key." It's like it happens to everybody. Like, oh wait, sorry.
Stop. We'll do it again. That's all right. It's like, yeah, it's Monday. That's right. We're doing the best we can. People are coming in. So I think that right there is probably the most exciting thing that has happened to us. So as you're logging in and you're getting on, what's the most exciting thing that's happened to you in the last week or the last month? Go ahead and put that in the chat. Hi, everyone. We're going to get started here at the live cast. I'm very, very excited today to have one of the managing partners of the Center for Sales Strategy, my business partner, John Henley. He's going to help us do a kind of the initial deep dive into the Impact Sales Leadership System. And if you have questions or comments, feel free to post them in the comment box, and we'll do our very best to respond to those. I, of course, like always, have my trusty list of questions, and we'll get to that. We're really, really excited about the Impact Sales Leadership System. And I'll just start off by saying this is something that the team at the Center for Sales Strategy spent about 18 months and about 1,100 hours building. It's really, really good and comprehensive. But let me ask John, because you were the one at the company that really led the effort. I don't want to say that you did everything, because we all know that success has a million parents. What, in your words, what is the Impact Sales Leadership System?
Yeah, it's a great place to start, Matt. It really is a framework. It's a word sometimes it can almost feel like we're overusing, because it's such a great way to describe this. And I think the reason a framework was needed here, as you and I started these early discussions, is there's a lot of things that sales leaders have to attend to. They have to get a lot of things right relative to the people and the pricing and just so many parts of your sales process, sales enablement, and CRMs. I mean, it's just all these things coming at you. And even if you've done the job for a long time, helpful to have a framework. And so we really created this as a framework that could drive winning performance. I was thinking of an example. I know we're going to have this conversation. If you want to make great espresso, it doesn't just happen, right? I mean, you need a strong bean, a proper grind, the correct tamping, a quality machine. Like making great espresso doesn't just happen. And same thing with great sales performance. It doesn't just happen. So impact really gives you the ingredients, or again, a framework to help with that. That's the best way to just describe what it is.
Yeah, I like that. It's not just the answers. It's not like, oh, here, you need to do this, do it this way. It's more of giving you that bigger picture. Say, okay, if this is part of the job, these are the things that you have to know. These are the decisions that you have to make. These are the questions that you have to ask yourself so that you can kind of then make it yourself. Is that a good way of expressing it?
Yeah, exactly. You and I were talking about that earlier, like with pricing, that we brought a framework or a system to that didn't say, here's how you should price. If you're a media property or any other kind of company, it's here are the things you should think about. Who should be involved in the pricing? How far ahead do we set the pricing? What are our standards for grading our pricing afterwards? It's bringing that kind of structure. Same thing even on sales structure. It isn't just say, here's the structure you should have. There's a process that you should take yourself through and your team to help you land on the right structure, or even determine if you have the right structure. So even while it's a framework itself, all through it, you're going to find these sets of questions and frameworks and systems and structures to help you make quality decisions. Some cases we're more prescriptive, like with individual focus meetings, we're very prescriptive on these are 3 things you want to do to drive quality activity. Still some freedom within that to decide how to do those. But so it's just a little bit more in terms of what it is.
So I know that in a lot of organizations, the way someone becomes a sales manager is that they were the best salesperson. And so poof, you're a sales manager. Now you're in charge of everything. Go figure it out. And I also know that sales managers are sometimes a reflection of the manager that they had, right? I mean, and they either aspire to be like the manager they had, or there are things that they say, oh, I'm never going to be like the manager I had.
Right.
But who was Impact built for? Like when you sat around and said, okay, we need to build Impact, who was this designed for? Is this for the veteran, the new person, the person doing really well, the person not who's it built for?
Yeah, so definitely purpose built for sales leaders. Very valuable, obviously, if you're a general manager or other leaders who sales managers might report up to in an organization. Could be any number of folks in those roles. But it was built for sales leaders, and particularly for a chief revenue officer, a VP of sales, a director of sales, a local sales manager. You could even get value if it was a more tailored role of somebody in charge of driving a new product, or in media, like a digital sales manager. And we were intentional about building it to be valuable for someone who's brand new to the job, for sure. It would give you sort of a roadmap in all of these different areas to follow, but also we built it as a ongoing guidebook for anybody who knows these areas pretty well, all of the areas that fall under impact, but can sometimes get off track and just need to be brought back to what is true north in this area. What is it that my routine should be? How should I keep myself and my team following a quality process? So really has value for both.
Excellent. So share with us the why. The why was Impact built? What were you hearing, seeing, observing? I know, so anyone that follows the Center for Sales Strategy knows, or follows you or me, knows that it's all about turning talent into performance. And ultimately, how can we help an organization improve their revenue performance? I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we all get excited about. We're helping you to improve your sales or revenue performance. So why did that lead to, okay, so let's build Impact. Let's spend a year and a half and build this online course called Impact?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It reminds me of a meeting we had many, many years ago. I don't remember how far back this was. It was when we were interviewing Emily Esty, and she asked, like, what was our sales process steps, our structure? And the truth is, while we had a lot of principles about selling and sales skill training, we never put it in a framework. And in some of that conversation that started that had us thinking about that, it's hard to believe that for a company who's only a few years away from being 40 years old, and we've been focused on driving sales performance for a long time, and we've spoken into sales leadership issues, talent focused management for those who've taken it. It's just made a huge impact on a lot of people for a lot of years. But it was a very narrow focus in terms of what you have to be good at as a sales leader. So it's hard. It really is unfathomable that we never really put all this into a framework. And then all of a sudden, you were at the front end of this probably more than me. A lot of clients started asking. There was like one asking, like, we love TFM, and we believe in all those principles. But even if we have great people and we develop them really well, is that everything? Is that enough? Like, what else do we need to make sure our sales leaders are really good at? You start getting that from numerous clients and asking very similar questions, which ended up being very cool because we used a number of those people as subject matter experts, particularly around the idea of what are the areas when you say you need help in this, tell me more. What do you mean by that? What do you want your people to be better at? How do you know they're better? How are you going to measure that? We used the subject matter experts, some of the smartest people that we knew that were asking these questions to say, hey, we want to invite you into this, which was a great way for us to learn more what we were really looking for there and what we really needed to build, but also gave us some people to speak into this. So to your point, while I was sort of the project lead of this and helped put a lot of it into a structure, had a lot of great input from our team and many of these subject matter experts as well.
Yeah, next week we're going to have Greg on the live cast, and he was probably the lead on the development of the actual courses and what they would end up looking like or be structured like and sound like, and we'll dig into that. So let's dig into a few of these sections. I know there's people, process, plan, and performance, 4 sections. What can you tell us about each one? Like, give us a quick summary of what someone could expect in each one of these.
Yeah, good. We'll break them down one at a time. So the people part of this was actually an interesting part. I think it was longtime client Rob Babin who said, hey, don't forget like this. I forget what he called it. It wasn't exactly the growth formula, but he started us into this conversation around, you may not realize how essential it is for a sales leader to grasp this concept. We call it the growth formula, and it's the talent somebody has plus the fit for the job times how you invest in them, which gives you growth as a person and as an organization. So that helped us say, you know what, we've had that for a long time. Here we have a longtime client and a few others that we were interacting with saying, this has enormous power. And that was really a starting point of this to say, we could do more with the growth formula. We could bring more structure to it. And we started to put all the things that line up under that, the recruitment, the selection, the development, the engagement, just all the pieces that go into that, and really go a little deeper into not only the talent and defining talent, which we've done really well for a long time, but how does that then connect all these other areas? So that's the people part of it. The process, we created a process pyramid. And again, this came from discussions with subject matter experts that said, when it comes to process, there are a few things that are so foundational. We ended up coming up with the pyramid. As I was thinking about this, I was trying to think of something that if the foundation isn't right, everything above it's not going to work, not going to hold up. And so we created a pyramid as a visual, thinking that you have to start with the right structure and the right process that you're following. And then all the things that fall under process, from good IFMs to sales enablement to your CRM, all of that isn't really going to do you much good if it's built on a bad foundation, if you don't have the right structure or the right process. So that was the process part. You want me to keep going through all 4?
Let me ask you a question. I do want to hear a little bit the same sort of quick unpack or quick summary of plan and performance. But when it comes to people, so I know that anyone who's ever been a CSS client has been in sales leadership has taken talent focus management at least one time. Several have taken it multiple times just because we've improved it over time. But TFM is kind of that core workshop extension to this discipline of impact. Are there plans for future workshop extensions or any sort of extensions to these other areas like process, plan, and performance? And is there anything that you feel you want to share with this group of millions and millions of people?
That's right. Yeah, no, it's a great question. At the beginning of this, and we've spent a lot of time in the last year plus putting together all the information for impact. And to your point at the beginning, super excited that essentially the core framework is done. All the courses are launched. And not just the concepts all the way from the subject matter experts, but it's really well done in terms of the design, the short snippets that each concept is in, all the rest of that. But we also know that even that is just a foundation. And so talent focus management, really what we're now calling the TFM experience, as we've been running it in a virtual environment, a virtual workshop experience, really takes the people courses and brings them to life. So we're going to flip to the other part, the fourth part, if you will, of impact performance. And we're designing a course right now that's about impact performance. We'll come back. The idea is that we would build workshops and experiences, some that can be done in a virtual environment, some at some point looking forward that can be done back in a classroom environment. But the idea is that we will have extensions of those that would build on and challenge you, really help develop and grow leaders to a deeper level. And part of the reason we went to the other side of the spectrum on the people part, because the people is so incredibly important. TFM experience does a great job of bringing that to life. Then we're going to go to performance, because one of the key courses in performance, the last one in it, is accountability. And we've hit on what we're calling the TAP plan to peak performance. And we think there's some great wisdom in that came out of this build. And we want to build an experience that we think in that case needs to be done in a short period of time. So it'll be done in a virtual way that'll be 2-3 hours a day over a 2 or 3 day period. We'll probably have the first one, I think we'll launch this fall. So be looking for announcements on that. That would help a leader go deeper into how do I do accountability, but not in a way that's watching somebody and micromanaging and beating them into doing what I want. We talk about the concept of you want to light a fire in somebody, not under them. And it's like, so how do I do that well, but ultimately still bring accountability in a way that I want to? So yes, we are building that and coming to a theater near you.
Excellent. Yeah, no, that's exciting. I think back to how many of our current customers, former clients, anyone that ever went through talent focus management, the question we always got was, okay, besides this, what else is there? Like, isn't there something else for more than just the people part of what I do? People is hugely important, but I do other things in my job. And I think that's what so you told us about people and process. Give us a quick summary on plan and performance as a way of kind of bringing this all together.
Yeah, so while we use the growth formula because it's a right way to think about taking talent, investing in them, and getting growth in a person and an organization, and we use that performance or the process pyramid because there are things that are foundational. With plan, it's a little different. All the topics that fit under planning, we fit those together as a puzzle. So we call it a plan puzzle. Part of the reason is you and I could both take a puzzle and build it in very different ways. You might start with the forest, I might start with the ocean, whatever we decide to do in a puzzle, we could still get to the final outcome. And the plan puzzle, the reason we use that is there's topics in there like annual sales planning and a sales calendar and sales plays and key account growth planning. None of those are you have to do these first and everything stacks on them. It's more about the time of year, like when you're doing sales planning or you're doing key account growth planning, or if you made a change in structure, for example, and it was mid-year, You might set a whole new set of sales plays. You might create a new process of key account growth planning because you've moved around accounts. So it isn't as prescriptive as saying this is the foundation, everything builds on it. This is a puzzle. Your puzzle isn't going to look good unless you get all the pieces. But it's hard to say that it happens exactly the same way each time. So again, very intentional about creating a picture of what that looks like in this case. And the last one is just performance. And so with performance, we use the mindset of a dashboard on an airplane, and that thinking of these as all indicators. And same thing here, probably a better, more closely tied to the process pyramid. If you ignore any indicator on a plane as the pilot, that's going to be a problem. And so all the areas we put in performance is like a dashboard, and there's things in there, everything from what's the performance I track, and what are the leading activities or leading indicators that lead to that performance, and then how do I individualize each of those areas for each person, and then what does pipeline management look like, and what does good pipeline management look like that leads to performance, all the way to the end of, as I mentioned before, the accountability. How do I put all this together in a way that it brings productive accountability into the sales environment? So you got to get all those performance indicators right to drive performance. So that gives you just a picture into the plan and to the performance.
Excellent. So in a second, I'm going to ask you I think there are 32 total courses in the Impact Sales Leadership System. I'm going to ask you to call out maybe your favorite 2, 3, or 4. You don't have, just a few. I'm going to do it also. So I'll share what are some of my favorites. But before I do that, let me just say this. So you might be watching this and thinking this is great if you're a CSS client and you have access to all of these resources. That's great. But what if you're not a CSS client? So even if you're not a CSS client, the idea of thinking about and having a good understanding of, do you have the right people and are you focused in those areas? Have you made sure that your systems and your processes are in alignment and they're doing what you need them to do? That you're not just winging it, but you do actually have a plan and everything is done for a purpose and a reason, and ultimately that's leading to performance. When we get asked to go into a new prospect, when they call us up and say, hey, I could use your help, can you come look at what we have going on? These are the areas that we look at to see where we might be able to help. So if you're a client, you have all this stuff, but if you're not a client, this is the way you should be thinking. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think it really is, like you said, these are the areas, I think, from a careful look on our part, that if you even have to look at some of this on your own and think, what do we do in each of these areas? It's still a good framework to help you do that.
All right, so I think if Stephanie can put up on the screen, if you're interested in a sample course, we have those. I think we have 2 of them that are available that anybody can go, and all you have to do is fill out a simple form that I think is your first name, last name, and your email address, and you can take 2 of these courses absolutely for free, and we want you to, and if you like them and you want to share them with other people in your company, we encourage you to do that. So John, I'll go first and share my favorite three courses.
All right.
First one, no particular order. So bullet point, just the first bullet point. The one on individual focus meetings. I think everyone gives lip service to the one-on-one or the one-to-one or the IFM, whatever you want to call it. Everyone gives lip service to it, and it has the potential to be the one meeting a week that both salespeople and sales managers can't stand doing, where it should be the one meeting a week that both can't imagine not doing. So that's one. The second one is sales structure, because I don't know about you, but besides return to office, sales structure is the conversation that I'm having with everyone these days. And by the way, that is one of the free courses that someone can go and take, is sales structure. And then the third, and maybe this is my favorite, the third is pipeline management. I just think that the way this is expressed in, I think I've taken the pipeline management course 6 or 7 times, because every single time I go through, I'm like, oh, I need to say it like that. I just think it's so well done. So what are a few of your favorites?
That's good. I'd forgotten about just how strong some of that is in pipeline management. I think we're the first place I've seen that takes this, there's a left side and a right side to your pipeline or your funnel, and there's some great teaching that goes with that. So that's a great one. So I just decided I would do one in each section. On people, I put selection. For this one, it's probably like you having sales structure. I picked this because there's so many conversations happening with so many clients that weren't hiring for a long time that now are starting to hire. They've all realized their talent banks are a little soft. And so there's a lot of that work going, but now a lot of conversations about making good selections. So love that one. I picked IFMs as well in process, just because of the way I think we did a better job than we've ever done before of saying, if you want to drive quality activity, these are the 3 keys, and here's what you follow of focusing on the right accounts, focusing on the upstream activities, and making sure you hold people accountable. So that some of those things that you were talking about. With plan, I picked sales plays partially because I've just seen the power of it. If somebody gets that crisp execution and they get a repeatable process, you have a strong play, just the power that can come from that. And I think we did a good job of outlining that there. And with performance, I picked accountability, partially just that TAP plan to performance, where we took you got your talent, your training, your accounts and activity, and your process and pipeline. And the question is, for this seller at this time for next quarter, what needs to happen in each of those areas to drive maximum performance? And from that thinking comes, what do I want to hold them accountable to? So I think it's a cool new way for people to think of it, and pretty excited about that one.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I mean, the accountability course is great, and the TAP framework is you said it best. It's light a fire in someone, not under someone, right? I mean, and you'll get back. It's the difference between, like, if someone cares about me and they have a shared, if we have a shared vision of what success looks like, I want them to hold me accountable. If someone doesn't care about me, doesn't have a shared vision of what success looks like for us, it feels like they're micromanaging me. And I think that the accountability course, sorry about that, does a great job of expressing that. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end today, but I invite anyone watching this to go and take those courses. If you are a client, you have access to them right now. You should go take them. If you're not a client and you'd like to go for free, you have that ability to do that, to take a couple of the courses for free. If you could share this video, share the YouTube. We are trying and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are making progress. We have big goals. We want lots of subscribers. So if you could do that, that would be great. If you want to get a hold of John Henley, here's his LinkedIn address. Go check him out on LinkedIn. He's always posting really useful stuff. You'll want to follow him and connect with him. And of course, if you want to connect with me, there's my LinkedIn account and my Twitter. I respond to both. And thank you very much. And we'll see everyone next week. And we'll talk more about impact sales leadership. Have a great day, everyone.
See ya.